Good day, my friends. Good morning to those here. Good day to all those that are enjoying this series on their own time. So, I turn my phone off. I wanted this last session together to be about bringing the light forward. And as we've explored, and I'm sure you have even outside of what we do together, explored, light is a word used for so many different meanings when it comes to this uh, eternal essence and source. And it has many images in creation, and it has many meanings in various schools of thought and traditions. And I decided that I wanted the main image to be that of flame. I remember at the time after 9/11, and I had newly left the monastery and I was in seminary in Washington, D.C. And when the decisions came out to open war in Iraq, there were hundreds of thousands of us that walked and protested. I mean, the mall was packed. It was definitely underreported. And one of those evenings, they had this very spontaneous concert where they brought in really well known people. And I will always remember Peter, Paul, and Mary. And when they sang their songs, that were, of course, all for social activism, if you will, all for doing right by humanity. People raised lighters, and you had the image of this united flame supporting what was being sung through the words. And I'm sure you've had moments like that too. It was moving. It gave a sense of hope and courage, belonging, meaning. It truly was a moving, just by the song being sung and everyone spontaneously beginning to hold up things like this and going back and forth. Smartphones had not been invented yet, or people would have had those all lit up. So, this final practice and reflection is going to be about bearing the light forward. And though I'm using the word flame, I did a little bit of research on the use of the word flame in various traditions. Really, flame is just one aspect of talking about light, isn't it? In the Christian scriptures in Matthew, the Gospel of Matthew, we hear Jesus say something very, very powerful. You are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. Yes, he unabashedly points in other places in the Gospels that he is the light coming to the world. But he is not doing that, from what I can see, in an exclusive way, because in other passages, based on the context, he's also pointing out that you are the light of the world. And this time period, this holiday season, whether it's Christianity, I know a bit about other traditions, Judaism and other traditions. It's about light coming into the world in a new way and in an ancient way. So we have this, that is given to us. And the question becomes, do I believe it? Do I believe that I'm the light of the world? Do I believe it? Do I believe that I am the light of the world? And if I do want to believe it, maybe it's helped my unbelief. I believe a little, but not completely. What do I need to do to wake up to that reality? How can I open my ears to hear that truth? I am the light of the world. In the Hindu tradition, we have the concept of Jyotir, which is the flame of awareness itself, and it's considered the inner flame, the essence of being. And this comes from the Upanishads. So in 436, we have it is the self that is the light of a person, self capital S. And in 4416, we have the self is indeed Brahman. It is self luminous, which is pointing to the same thing, the essence of being, that we are the light. We are the light. And in this understanding, it's an inner flame in Hinduism. It's an inner flame. It's burning. It's burning, which burning, flame is strong, right? It's aggressive. It's action oriented. You see a flame and the flame is moving and flickering and burning things. So you get this image that this inner flame is something that is constantly flickering and warming and doing something. It's not simply waiting. Of all the elements, flame is really a mover, right? A mover and a shaker. And I'm a fire sign, so I know what it's like to be a flame. In the Sikh tradition, we have there is one light in all, and that light lives through love and service. It shows us that this flame is not just the essence, but that it lives, meaning that it's expanding. It's expanding as we intentionally expand. In what ways? Love and service. And then in Judaism, that is really so appropriate this time of the year. There is the theological development that a flame is kept burning at all times in the synagogues with this understanding, not because the world is whole, but because the world is not. It is the light abiding, and it's shown what in the image of flame. It is us being called to sense in the world its longing. Its longing. And not that we have to carry the world, but that we abide with it in its longing. And this is a development, it's an evolution from the rabbinic, Hasidic, and Judaic thought. Because in Judaism, this development of doctrine, if you will, this development of inspiration moves through the people and develops in new ways. It's expanding and evolving in each age and each time. But it comes from the Ner Tamid, which is God's enduring presence, the covenantal reality that the world will never, in Judaic understanding, will never be abandoned by God. So this flame is a symbol and a call. In Heschel, in his work in God's Search of Man, God in Search of Man, he writes, Judaism is not about celebrating a finished world, but about responsibility for an unfinished one. So, in my inner flame ending, I am leaving you with an invitation to be responsible, not carrying the world, not you're not God, you're not the divine, you are the divine presence, but you are not the totality of the uncreated source of all. But you are mysteriously the divine flame. Let's walk forward together being responsible. I know when I was going through a period of great loss, there was a song that was really alive for me. And it's the song, He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother. It's such a beautiful song. And if you have the chance, Google it on the web and listen to it again. The road is long. And it goes on. It's so lyrical and tender. And what was really consoling to me in that song was not my call to be the inner flame. I was in a moment of really deep emotional need to have the light come to me in a moment of a level of loss that undid me. What happened in that time was the trees sang it to me every time I went for a hike. Unbelievable, right? Unbelievable. That is a blessing of what we get in these various traditions and communities, the journeying together. And I think that comes through in Judaism so powerfully. We're holding the flame not because the world is finished, but because we're here to be responsible that the world does come to its completion. We walk together. And I couldn't have this talk without bringing in Buddhism. And Buddhism doesn't really use the image of flame in the way that we're talking about. Uh, there is one quote I found: "The awakened one is like a flame freed from fuel, present without burning." So that has that paradoxical sense that it's longing fulfilled. It's flame that is not grasping after, not pushing forward for. And it might seem like a contradiction, right? Because if you've got the flame burning and we're standing with the abiding longing, doesn't that connote some kind of textured, sensual burning? Yes and no, right? Present without burning. There's another quote, because the moon is oftentimes used when it comes to this kind of inner light, this radiance. Radiance is a popular word used. And sorry, my dad's calling in. He just had surgery. I'm going to pause this and continue. So please wait just a moment for me. He just had a major surgery. Thank you for that. Yes, he's getting older, and these major surgeries, I don't want to miss finding out that he's feeling okay. So oftentimes the image of moon is used when we talk about the radiance of light. And as I was doing a bit of research, because I love this one quote, like the moon reflected in water, The light touches all without clinging. So this radiance, this carrying the light forward, is in that way. And I was wondering, well, how does that really compare? If Buddhism had to use the word light, how would they use it? And I did find this one reference. Moonlight appears in many waters, just as one lamp lights many lamps without being depleted or used up. What a great image that is, that as we are the light, as we carry the light forward, in doing so, our light never dims. So, this is a little side note. If you're somebody that your light gets dimmed, it means that there's an inner attentiveness that needs to happen with where are you coming from? Because when you are the eternal light, when you are the light of your being, it can't be diminished. Nobody can take that light from you. It doesn't exhaust you. It fills you up even more. The light, the light. I love that. Moonlight appears in many waters. One lamp lights many lamps. Very powerful. So, pulling these all together, how do you want to step forward and carry the flame forward? Be the flame walking forward. How? How? What, coming forward from this series we've done, what has struck you in such a way that you feel, yes, that's alive in me. I can do that. I can surrender into that. What element of flame? And I'm calling you to do this before we begin our final meditation so that you can, in unspoken words, bring that into our meditation. So I'd like you to pause the recording and sit for a moment and let yourself intentionalize in what way are you going to bring the flame forward? In what way are you going to be the flame and bring it forward? So go ahead and pause the recording. And this does not have to be grandiose. It doesn't just be some major, big statement. It is in these small steps that the big things happen. So I invite you to pause this recording, and I don't know if it shows up on the recording, but I'm going to pause it myself and write my own little intention. All right, I hope you've got your intention. So here's my intention. My role for the awakening of us all is to embody God and bear God to a world that hungers to remember they are God. Yeah. Yeah, that's mine. So maybe you want to speak yours aloud as well. And we're simply going to sing a song. I love Psalm 122. I rejoiced when they said to me, let us go to the house of the Lord. It's attributed to David. And standing in your gates, in the gates of the house of the Lord, praying for peace, Jerusalem, praying for peace for all humanity, praying that the flame of this enduring presence of the eternal, ineffable source may alight us, awaken us. There's a powerful song that I used to sing when I was part of the charismatic movement. I rejoiced when they said to me, Let us go unto the house of the Lord. Praise, peace, Jerusalem, in your gates into the house of the Lord. So we're going to sing a rejoice song. I'm going to use beads for our practice. What greater way is there to share the flame of love and light than to rejoice? To rejoice. And I'm going to change the word Lord to love so that this doesn't have a tradition to it. This will probably be familiar to you. So I invite you to close your eyes. Inviting in a breath of gratitude and exhaling. Ah. Another breath. Ah. Another breath. Ah. And join in as you're able to. Rejoice in love always. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice in love always. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice in love always. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice in love always. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice in love always. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice in love always. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice in love always. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice in love always. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice in love always. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice in love always. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice in love always. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice in love always. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice in love always. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice in love always. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice. Again I say rejoice. Open your eyes. Rejoice in love always. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice in love always. Again I say rejoice. Connect with me and the many others that participated in this together. And let us across the airwaves allow rejoice because of the light of our being, move out to all the world and continue to ignite us from the inside out. Rejoice in love always. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice in love always. Again say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice in love always. Can I say rejoice? Rejoice in love always. Can I say rejoice? Rejoice, rejoice. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice. Again I say rejoice. One last time. Rejoice in love always. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice in love always. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice. Again I say rejoice. Great to be with you, as always. I look forward to when we're together again, and I send you many, many blessings. Aho.